Okay, so you pull out your phone, you need a ride. You know the drill, right? Two apps sitting there side by side. It's a choice millions of us make every single day. But what you might not realize is that behind that simple tap, there's an absolute war going on, a high-stakes battle for the future of how we get around. We've been digging into the very latest numbers to figure out who's really winning this thing as we race into 2026.
All right, first up, let's just talk about sheer scale. I mean, look at this number. In the last part of 2025, Uber had a staggering 202 million people using their apps every single month. We're talking globally across everything they do. They are, without a doubt, the Goliath in this fight. Just huge.
And then you've got Lyft. In that same time frame, they had 29.2 million active riders. Yeah, you heard that right. That's a massive difference. I mean, at first glance, you'd think, okay, game over. This is a total knockout. But, and this is a big but, the story gets way more interesting when you look past just the number of users.
And that's because, as they always say, you gotta follow the money. When you do that, a totally different picture starts to emerge. So let's get into it. This is the financial duel, the tale of the tape, where we'll see that size, well, it isn't everything.
Okay, no big surprise here. When you look at total revenue for 2025, Uber just absolutely dwarfs Lyft. We're talking $52 billion compared to just over $6 billion. And that makes sense, right? It reflects their huge global footprint and all their different businesses. So you think, okay, case closed, but not so fast.
See, the really interesting question isn't just how much money did you make, it's how much money are you making per ride, how efficient are you, who's actually squeezing more profit out of every single trip you take.
And boom, this is where the whole story just flips on its head. In 2025, Lyft pulled in a net revenue of $6.68 per trip. Uber, only $3.83. That is a huge difference. And believe me, that's not some random fluke. It is the direct result of two completely different game plans.
So, that crazy difference in per-trip revenue, it really gets to the heart of their strategies. We're talking about two totally different philosophies. One is building this massive all-in-one ecosystem, and the other is just laser-focused on being a specialist.
All right, so here's the breakdown. On one side, you have Uber, and they are all in on the super app game. They don't want to just be your ride. They want to be your food delivery, your package delivery, heck, even your freight shipper. They're building a whole logistics empire. And then you have Lyft. They're doing the complete opposite. They're doubling down on what they've always done best, getting you from point A to point B, mainly in North America, and folding in things like bikes and scooters.
And this is where Uber's strategy gets really clever. It's all about synergy. You see, they've got 46 million people signed up for Uber One, which basically locks them into this ecosystem. And get this, people who use Uber for both rides and delivery spend 3 times more money. Plus, a ton of new delivery customers actually come from the rides platform. It even helps them save money on drivers because a driver can drop off a person and then immediately go pick up a food order. It's a really powerful loop.
I saw one financial analyst put it perfectly. They said Uber is ecology-driven. It's like they're building this whole self-sustaining environment. Lyft, on the other hand, is vertical-driven. They just want to be the absolute best at one thing. It's a great way to think about it. But both of these playbooks are about to get smashed by the same giant wave of disruption.
And you probably know what I'm talking about. The future, the Robotaxi revolution. Yeah, autonomous vehicles. And we have to be super clear here. This isn't just some new feature like adding a new payment option. This is a ground-up reinvention of their entire business.
So why is this such a big deal? Well, think about it. Right now, the single biggest expense for both Uber and Lyft is paying the drivers. It's a variable cost. But the AV shift totally flips the script. Suddenly, you're not paying for labor anymore. Instead, you're moving to a model of high fixed costs. Buying the cars, maintaining them, all that.
Now, this isn't going to happen overnight. It's a transition, and it'll probably happen in 3 steps. Step 1 is where we are right now, a human-powered network. Pretty straightforward. Step 2 is the messy middle, the hybrid network, where you'll see human drivers and robotaxis from companies like Waymo sharing the road. And then, step 3, that's the end game, a fully autonomous asset-powered network.
And Uber? Well, Uber's going after this future aggressively. They're not just waiting around. They've got a partnership with Waymo, they own a huge piece of the AV company Aurora, and they've already got a deal for 20,000 Lucid vehicles. Their strategy is something analysts are calling quasi-assetization, which is a fancy way of saying
They're getting ready to actually own the cars, to become a real fleet operator.
Lyft's play is completely different. It's much more cautious, maybe even a little defensive. You might remember they actually sold off their own self-driving division. So now they're completely dependent on partners, companies like Waymo and Amazon Zoox. Their strategy is contract-driven. Basically, they don't want to own the cars. They just want to be the app you use to hail someone else's Robotaxi.
So let's bring it all together. What does all of this mean as we look ahead to 2026? Here's the final investor outlook.
Okay, let's break it down. For Uber, their strength is that massive global ecosystem. It's a huge advantage. Their biggest risk? Actually pulling off this super complex, super expensive AV plan, all while dealing with a crazy maze of regulations around the world. Then there's Lyft. Their strength is that high revenue they make per ride and their laser focus on North America. But their big risk is being totally at the mercy of their partners in the AV race, not to mention fighting high costs in their main market.
And all of this really leads to one final critical question. The battle lines are drawn and the strategies couldn't be more different. See, as the human driver slowly fades out of the picture, the winner isn't going to be the company with the most users right now. No. The winner will be the one that builds the smartest, most profitable robotic network of tomorrow. So the question we're all left with is who is truly going to own the road?